Hello, and welcome to Super Sabbatical Proposals, a Writing Across the College webcast for faculty interested in applying for sabbatical. This webcast will provide you with strategies for writing your sabbatical application. In addition, the Writing Across the College Director is available for individual consultation and feedback. Contact information is provided at the end of this video. First of all, let's cover the basics of the SLCC sabbatical policy. A sabbatical is a leave of absence with compensation for one appointment year, or a portion thereof, to full-time faculty members to permit them to renew and update their qualifications for their positions, to conduct research, or to undertake professional development. At Salt Lake Community College, all sabbatical applications are due to the Associate Dean no later than the first Friday of October. Full-time faculty members are eligible to apply for their first sabbatical after 6 continuous years of satisfactory service. Any subsequent sabbatical applications must also be preceded by 6 continuous years of satisfactory service. Additionally, the total number of sabbatical leaves in a given year cannot exceed 2.5% of full-time faculty at SLCC and cannot exceed 14% of the total number of full-time faculty in a division or department. Okay, with those rules out of the way, let's get to the purpose of this webcast, writing the sabbatical application. The application itself is made up of 3 main elements: a statement of purpose, a detailed description of the sabbatical activity, and the inclusive dates being requested. Before getting started on how to write your sabbatical application, we need to look at how it will be evaluated by your Associate Dean, your Dean, the Provost, and the President. First, there are 5 empirical criteria: whether you meet the 6 years of continuous satisfactory service requirement, whether you submitted the application on time and it was complete, whether you have previously been granted a sabbatical, which comes into consideration if there are more sabbatical applications than can be granted in a given year, whether you have the support of the faculty in your home department and division and the support of your school's dean. You should talk to your Associate Dean and colleagues before submitting your application. Sharing drafts with them is also helpful. If your sabbatical application meets all of these criteria, it is then assessed qualitatively, according to the following. This is the degree to which the sabbatical supports department goals, the individual's goals, and professional development, supports the mission and values of the college, how much it will improve instruction and benefit students, and finally, the potential effectiveness of the plan to share the sabbatical experience with the faculty members, colleagues, and students, and the wider community if appropriate. Even though the call for sabbatical applications begins with a statement of purpose, we're going to start with a detailed description of the sabbatical activity. It can be difficult to build a strong case for the value of your application before you have a clear sense of what you plan to do on your sabbatical. SLCC sabbatical policy indicates 5 purposes that are available for faculty sabbatical: formal education, work experience, professional development, research and publication, and service projects. Your application must fit within these purposes. In order to develop a strong detailed description, you'll need to answer the following questions. What do you plan to do? What are your intended results or outcomes? How will you accomplish it? When are you going to do it, and how long will it take? Who will you be doing it with, if anyone? And where will it take place? Let's look at these in detail. First, what do you plan to do on your sabbatical? Sometimes we know we are ready for a sabbatical, but might not have a detailed sense of what we want to do. This can lead to overly general descriptions such as, I'm going to create some new materials for my teaching, or I'm going to volunteer for an organization. These are not adequate, however, to create a strong application. When you think about what you want to do, get very, very specific. For example, in my sabbatical, I will create 15 open education resource modules for the History 1700 course. Or, in my sabbatical, I will be undertaking a service project to develop sustainable water purification systems with the Save Our Canyons nonprofit organization. After making this declaration, spend some time detailing your project and your personal motivation for doing it. You'll be able to explain the value of your project to the college in your statement of purpose. This description of activities should focus on the project itself. After you describe your project's purpose, you should spend some time detailing your intended results or outcomes of your time on sabbatical. This element demonstrates that your project can be completed in the time that you have. As you work on this portion, take an honest look at your capabilities and resources. Larger or more grandiose outcomes do not automatically translate into a stronger application. If your goals are not realistic, your application is less likely to be approved. Now, you should move to how, where, and with whom you will undertake your sabbatical project. You'll need to describe any work that you've already undertaken towards the project, and then detail the project's tasks. You may need to provide supplemental information or documentation, such as a letter of your acceptance into a program of study or a course plan. If you are conducting research, outline your research plan, or if consulting, letters of agreement from the partner organization. Some sabbatical applications include travel. If yours does, you'll need to explain when, where, and why you will be traveling. An effective way to detail your sabbatical tasks is to create a timeline of activities. This is an example from a sabbatical that was granted at SLCC. This sabbatical included 2 distinct projects. You can see that each activity corresponds with a time frame prior to, during, and after the sabbatical. The tasks show a clear progression to complete the overall sabbatical goal. After you complete the detailed description of your sabbatical activity, you're ready to work on the statement of purpose. This statement asserts the value of the sabbatical to the college and its compatibility with department goals. The statement of purpose argues how your sabbatical application meets the qualitative evaluative criteria that was noted earlier. We will group these criteria in order to be sure your statement of purpose addresses all of them. First, how does your sabbatical application align with and respond to your departmental or school goals? One way to approach this is to examine them and then draw upon them as you draft your statement of purpose. Additionally, be sure that your statement of purpose demonstrates how your sabbatical activity aligns with the mission and values of the college. You can draw on the different areas of the mission and values as you describe the worth of your project. For example, you can draw on the commitment to developing stronger pathways for students, or any one of the values areas, such as learning or innovation. Sabbaticals are almost always learning-based, and more often than not, they are innovative. Look for connections between what you are doing and how you can describe it using the language and metaphors of the college's institutional documents. Next, your application will be evaluated on how your sabbatical will impact the primary purpose of SLCC, students and learning. You should spend some time discussing how your work will benefit students and instruction at the college. If your sabbatical activity is formal education, professional development, or even work experience, you can often draw a direct line between it and its benefits to students. If your project is more research or service-based, or perhaps consulting, it may take you an additional few steps to show the relevance of your work to students and instruction, but you will need to demonstrate it. One way to frame it is that your sabbatical project will provide you with more knowledge in your field, and it will surely bring you into contact with other teacher scholars. Such networking can translate into renewed enthusiasm for your field of study and for your teaching. Finally, the last qualitative criteria used to assess sabbatical applications is how effectively you will share your work with other faculty members, colleagues, students, and the wider community. It is required that you submit a report of your sabbatical activity to the provost and the assistant provost for learning advancement. It also makes common sense to share this report with your associate dean, and faculty colleagues. You are also required to complete a formal presentation on your sabbatical by the end of the first semester of your return. You should work with your associate dean, and the assistant provost of learning advancement to arrange this. Other avenues to share your sabbatical work include applying for the SLCC Distinguished Faculty Lecture. Information on this lecture and how to apply for it can be found at the Office for Faculty Development. If a lecture is not a logical outcome of your activities, perhaps a reading, performance, poster, website, workshop, or gallery opening would provide an appropriate venue. Finally, the Office for Faculty Development is an excellent program through which you can disseminate your sabbatical project. Collaborate with them to develop online or in-person resources for faculty. The most important point here is to examine your intended outcomes of your sabbatical and think about what areas of the college can help you disseminate your work, gain their support, and include it in your sabbatical application. Bringing this all together into a single application can feel daunting, but a possible structure can make it seem less so. Your application can be structured like a memo or perhaps in a proposal format. Either way, it should include a title or a subject, be clearly addressed to your associate dean, and include the date you are submitting it. Be sure to note the inclusive dates that you are requesting a sabbatical. For example, I'm applying for a sabbatical for the dates of July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019. Next, even though you should draft your statement of purpose after you have worked through your detailed description of activities, the statement of purpose comes first in the application because it sets the context for your sabbatical project. Be sure to indicate that it is your statement of purpose with a heading. After your statement of purpose, begin the detailed description of your sabbatical activity. Again, separate this with a heading. Following the description, you should include timeline of activities and travel, including location and purpose. The application should finish with a plan to share sabbatical experience with others. If you would like to get feedback on your sabbatical application from the Writing Across the College director or simply discuss your sabbatical ideas, please call extension 3232 or email wac@slcc.edu.